Cement companies, if you remember, after a fairly roaring performance in the latter part of 2012, saw a goodish bit of profit taking in the last weeks of February, and market talk had it that perhaps sales are not as good as was expected. Shailendra Chouksey, Whole-Time Director, JK Lakshmi Cement, is with us. Mr. Chouksey, we have your final dispatch numbers for February itself. Including clinker, it is 4.47 lakh metric tons is what we are told, which is very similar to what you did in January. But what is it compared to year ago levels? Is this what you did in February of 2012 as well, 4.46 lakh tons?
Unfortunately, February last year, this year has not been as good as probably the last year. While we did see a growth in the month of January, when we recorded a growth of about 4 to 5%, this year February was almost a flat month, and I think most of the most of the players in the region that we operate in, that is north and west, have seen either a flat February or maybe a marginal decline. I think the sales have not been as good.
Yeah, but what would you attribute this to?
Yeah.
There were some observers who thought that it is because of an extended winter and therefore not much work getting done, labourers not being able to do much. Was that the case, or is there a problem with demand? Like we have a problem with demand with two-wheelers, with four-wheelers, with the whole gamut of consumption goods.
I think, yeah, you're right. Though there has been the season did play, the unseasonal rains did play its part, but the fact remains that there has been a considerable slowdown witnessed in the construction, both in terms of infrastructure and the realty sector. And one was hoping that in the last quarter we would see a resumption of those activities. In fact, January we felt was a precursor when there was an upward movement, but February somehow belied that. All our hopes are now pinned on the month of March, and obviously when there is a general slowdown all over, the GDP is not picking up, the construction or cement cannot remain an island of prosperity. It is bound to get its repercussion. Though overall cement would, to my mind, would still register a growth of 5 to 6% on an annual basis, which probably in the current circumstances may not be as bad.
So you had, I think your production target you gave us for FY13 was, I think, 47 lakh tons. What is the overall target you are expecting to achieve in FY13?
We are expecting about 50 lakh tons. You see, we've already done about 38 in the first 9 months. As the first 6 months were quite good, we did record a growth of about 11%. So I think we did 38 lakhs in the first 6 months. So I think we'll be touching about 5 million, that is 50 lakh tons.
Okay. In the budget, sir, freight rates were increased by close to about 5%. Is there a case for cement companies to pass on the increase in costs?
Yeah, of course. In fact, we did see first the diesel price increase, which had its repercussion, as most of the cement manufacturers are a bulk buyer. Then the railways, who transports nearly 50% of the cement output in the country and almost 20 to 25% of the input, they obviously were felt, they had a very serious impact on the fuel price. So they have passed on to about 5.75% on the cement industry. And I think there is a very strong case of price correction. In fact, we lost some price in the third quarter. As it is, there was a case for price correction, but obviously we have not been able to do it because the demand has not been very favorable. But one is hoping that now in the month of March the demand would get, there would be some resumption in the demand, and of course April, May, June is normally a good quarter. So I think going forward we should see a correction in the price.
How much would it be? Price correction?
Well, that's very difficult to, it's very difficult to really predict what it would be. But you know, if one were to simply take into account the diesel and the freight, I think there is a case for immediate 5 to 10 rupees a bag price increase, which the cement industry would need to take even to maintain a workable operating margin of 18 to 20%.
Okay, that was what I was coming to actually. Your Q3 margin stood at about 19.9%. Okay, almost 20%. Still slightly lower than what it was a year ago at 21%. But will your final quarter be able to give you that kind of a margin? 19.9?
I think we are hoping that we should ultimately reach 18 to 20% operating margin by year end. Yes, one is hopeful.
You spoke about demand being weak. So if you do increase prices by about 5 to 10 rupees per bag, how much will it impact your volumes according to you? Because even in last quarter in Q3, volumes were fairly anemic at 2.7%.
I don't personally believe that the prices would really affect any volume. The cement constitutes a very small percent of the construction cost. In the NCR and metro cities, cement does not even constitute 6% of the cost of construction. So 5 to 6 rupees a bag doesn't really affect the construction pace as such. So I don't think the demand would get affected. In any case, most of the consumers are expecting that prices which were there in second quarter, we are already almost about 15 to 20 rupees lower than that. So I think the market has been expecting a correction. Well, we have not been able to do it really because the volume has not been very encouraging. So I think it's more of our own inertia than really a fear of any volume going down.
Okay. Can you just take us through the timetable of your various expansions? You have a unit at Chhattisgarh with a grinding capacity of 1.2 million metric tons. That's expected to come on stream in December. Is that on schedule? As well as the facility at Surat, where land has been acquired, June 2014 is a realistic timetable?
Yeah, we are expecting, currently we are nearly 5.5 million ton capacity, and we are expecting to reach 10 million ton capacity by October next year. The timeline is that we are going to add about 2.7 million ton by March next year. There has been a delay of about 2.5 months in our Chhattisgarh project. So I think that's going to come by about February, March 14, when our capacity will reach about 8.5 million ton. And then we are adding about 1.5 million tons at Udaipur, where we are reviving a SECU unit, Udaipur Cement Works. That we are expecting to commission by October 14. So that will take us to about 10 million ton. Besides, we have a 500,000 ton of grinding unit in Surat and 500,000 ton of grinding in Haryana in Jhajjar. All these projects will get completed by the Jhajjar will get completed by March 14, while Surat will get completed by October 14.
All right. Thanks so much, Mr. Chouksey, for joining us. That's the word coming in on JK Lakshmi Cement.